Welcome to the Business on Top podcast with Shane Chernoff, Vijay Patel, and Ben Siegel.
What is wrong with you?
What do you mean what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you?
No, what's wrong with you?
No, what's wrong with you? You're projecting. You stop projecting on me.
Favorite Taco Bell item? Go.
Ever or right now? I guess it's the same.
Just answer the question.
Hello?
Lois, I can't take out the garbage because I'm at the office and they're making me stay late.
Peter, the caller ID says you're calling from the kitchen. In fact, I can see you.
Can you see me now?
No.
Okay, now I'm at the office.
Business on Top podcast.
Hi there! Honk if you love justice!
We're ready to start the show, and we look over, and we hear a sound, and VJ's over there. What were you eating?
I was having a nice strawberry frosted donut from Krispy Kreme.
How was it? Pretty solid?
I would say it's pretty solid. That was actually the first time I ever had a strawberry frosted donut at Krispy Kreme. I usually just get the regular glazed right off the press.
Love a classic glazed. That reminds me, do you remember back at the old stadium?
Yes, the Marlins.
Yeah.
Yep. Funny story about that. When we were living in New York and we were staying at my aunt and uncle's, we went to a Marlins game, and it was, what was it? If they scored like 12 runs,
It was
got 12
they
hits.
needed a baker's dozen of hits. So if they got
Hits.
13 hits, you would get a dozen donuts from Krispy Kreme.
Yeah, it per each ticket. So we obviously went as a family of 4, and that game they somehow managed to get 13 or whatever hits they needed to get. So we went to Krispy Kreme the next day. We got 4 dozen boxes of donuts, and we were staying at my aunt and uncle's.
You ate the whole?
I was probably like 12 years old. I probably ate at least 2 of those boxes by myself, which resulted in my heavyweight frame as a young kid. But that was a great. I think the Marlins.
I was gonna say your intestines were probably like a slip and slide with all like glaze in
my
there.
aunt and uncle's sewage system was not the same after that day. But Krispy Kreme must have hated they must have been rooting against the Marlins because there's no way they wanted to show them.
I think the Krispy Kreme, I think it was on Palmetto by my house. That one got shut down. But I remember, what's the worst field trip you took like as a kid? Because one time we took a camp field trip to Krispy Kreme, and I went to a sports camp. Man, the fat kids loved it, and I loved it. But I mean, there's only so much you can do except watch the donuts actually get made.
Yeah.
That's a good question. I don't think I've ever had a bad field trip.
Probably a museum as a kid. You know, no one really. We're all.
I liked
artists.
it.
I guess it depends
You're
what kind of
nerd.
nerd
I
alert.
embrace the nerd culture.
But that's really, I mean, where else did boring field trips? A museum. Maybe we went to a park as a kid, but other than that, to my summer camp, most of our field trips, we went to a different baseball stadium every summer.
Oh, that's a great field trip.
I know, that's right, yeah.
It's not boring. You're getting out of class and you're literally taking a trip. It shouldn't be boring, regardless, right? You're not doing schoolwork.
That's true.
Right? So,
Wait,
perspectives.
Yeah,
right?
but then you're in the museum and you're like, I'd rather be in class.
You want to do homework.
Yeah,
instead.
well.
Nerd!
We're all nerds.
Yeah, there was. Oh man, I would always get in trouble on field trips. I think just because I was under the impression that you're supposed to behave when you're in class, and I would just basically let it all out as soon as the bus trips are probably the worst.
Yeah.
I'm sure I had some teachers that wanted to open up that back swing door in the back of the bus and just kick me out onto 441.
Yeah.
But
speaking of those buses, those are probably done for. I mean, we were cramming 3 kids to a 2-person seat on those benches. Probably post-pandemic.
I think buses are still running.
No, but I'm talking about post-pandemic, cramming all those kids into.
I legit do not know how that works. So if you are a mother or a father who have a kid who is riding the bus, doing it socially distanced style, we would love to hear your input.
Or a bus driver. We
are going to get the input next segment from Sarah Abraham. She is the first Indian American UF student body vice president, and we're going to hear her and see from her perspective how young people are dealing with coronavirus. She's a very interesting person, got a lot of great perspectives, good interview, so you'll be able to hear that coming up in the next segment. But going back to field trips, what was the game that you guys played on the bus? Like, did you guys ever play with your Pokemon cards on the bus? Because that was a big deal for us. In
I didn't take the bus a lot, to be honest.
Oh, I was riding the bus. Yeah. I didn't have a car through all high school, so even like there were days my senior year where I had to ride the bus when I didn't have friends who were able to drive me in.
We were taking city buses in New York, like to middle school. We would get a Metro card and we'd just take the bus in. Like,
you just take public transit to your school. That's just something that you do in Manhattan.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because there are a lot of people that don't necessarily know that, but the public transit system, it's like, that's even from like an early age, you're like 9, 10, like you get familiar with that real quick because it's not like you can, call an Uber every time you need to go somewhere. It's just the nature of the city.
Plus, there's no parking, especially in a city like New York or Chicago or any of these big cities. You don't even want to drive because parking or driving in the city is an absolute nightmare.
Oh, it's terrible.
Yeah, it's different.
There's like 7 garages in all of Manhattan. There's like 8 million people on Manhattan Island. Or is it 8 million people in the whole city, or is it 3 million people in Manhattan and 8 million total in the city?
I don't know.
I guess
probably 8 million in Manhattan.
Yeah, sorry, I just dropped that in your lap. That's not an interesting thing at all. I want to circle back to Vijay eating the Krispy Kreme. Yeah, because you went for the strawberry frosted, and there was a cake batter in there, and I don't know how many people would have done that.
Well, I didn't know there was cake batter in that. I don't like Boston cream donuts, so I assumed it was Boston cream.
Oh yeah, no, that was a cake batter.
You don't like a liquidy inside, or you don't?
No, because my favorite donut.
That's what she said.
My favorite donut is jelly-filled donuts from, anywhere, but usually I get it from Dunkin' Donuts. But I think, what were you trying to get at? What our favorite donut is?
Well, yeah, what's
favorite spot?
If you're picking donuts, what are you gonna pick? Because I have one that's off the map. I like the blueberry glaze. And
I love that one too.
And I say that because I like to dunk my donut in like black coffee.
Me too.
Because you're mixing flavors. You're shaking your head. You're not a coffee guy, Ben?
No. I drink coffee, but I don't dip my donuts. I like the donuts just. I usually go old-fashioned. You ever have an old-fashioned glaze? Like they're really thick.
That's just like the bread-ish with no glaze on it, right?
No, it has glaze, but it's like really doughy.
Yeah.
It's the most bang for your buck. Yeah, it's got the most sugar, so that's why I choose it.
During his bachelor party, did you come with us to Tim Hortons?
I did.
Did you have the donuts there?
I did.
How did they compare to the Dunkin' Donuts or Krispy Kreme? Because we don't have Timmy's down here, unfortunately.
Way better.
Yeah,
there was just something about Tim Hortons. The coffee was better. The breakfast sandwiches were better. The donuts were better. There's just something about Tim Hortons that
was because we were all mildly hungover and it was the first thing that we had in the morning.
That's part of it, definitely. Tim Hortons is really good. Down here though, there are a lot of specialty donut places now.
Mm-hmm. I noticed that.
Very good. Very good.
I noticed that. There's Jupiter Donuts, Duck Donuts.
Salty, right? That's the one in Miami.
Dandy Donuts, Salty Donut.
Salty donut.
Yeah.
One of those donut places better start sending us free donuts every Friday night when we do this podcast.
Duck Donuts is great because it's like a mini donut, specialty donut. So they have like bacon donuts. They have what are some different ones?
Did I say Jupiter Donuts?
You did. Those are the first ones.
Yeah, we have some people that help us out in the office, just doing various legal services for us, and sometimes they'll try to schmooze us a little bit. If they're coming by the office, they'll get us like a couple dozen donuts from Jupiter Donuts, and man, those things, they're just so decadent, and look what they put into it. They're Snickers donuts, M&M's donuts. They really get creative with some of those. The PB&J donut.
Oh, I've had one like that. I think Duck Donuts has that too.
Yeah.
Really good.
Yeah, if it's a donut, I'll eat it. All donuts
me
are
too.
good.
Peanut butter? Crunchy or creamy peanut butter?
Crunchy.
Grape or strawberry jelly?
On a sandwich? Like a PB&J?
At all.
Anything.
I mean, I always...
Strawberry.
Oh. Well, you guys were quick.
They're great.
Well, you guys were quick with that because I go back and forth sometimes. Sometimes in the mood for strawberry, sometimes in the mood for grape.
I've had orange marmalade. This stuff is good.
Yeah. Speaking of peanut butter, you're the peanut butter, you're the jelly, and I'm the bread to this thing that we call our podcast. Now we're kind of... I am white. Breaking news. Spoiler alert, in case you're listening to the podcast audio only. I am in fact white.
If you're colorblind out there, you know.
Yeah. I know this might come as a surprise to you guys. I love the Dave Matthews Band. Love good mayo on a turkey sandwich. I am a white guy.
No mayo.
But coming together, even though that we've known each other for years, we've kind of had an interesting experience learning and doing this podcast. So, I was wondering for you guys, what is the most interesting thing or the most challenging thing that we've had to do? And I think for me, it's trying to come up with interesting conversation for most people, because if the three of us are just talking, usually, that's something that's interesting to us, but not necessarily to other people. So I think the challenge for us has been coming up with content.
For me, I think it's been learning the ins and outs of editing the actual footage of what we actually finish off with on each episode, because there's a lot of things you just cut out and put together, and as you're doing that in our software, in the softwares, you learn on the fly. You obviously have all the resources like YouTube to kind of figure out how to do certain things, how to use different equipment, and how certain equipment is better for podcasts than, if you're doing something else. Just like, and the thing is with us, we're very dynamic because we have the video footage and also the actual equipment that puts the sound in for when we get into Apple Podcasts and whatever other platform.
We are trying to make this a more immersive podcast as opposed to just audio only. We want this to be through an auditory and a visual medium.
Right.
Trying to make it not just diverse, but interesting, because
it's
go
important.
ahead.
No, it's important to put a face to a voice, because think about the first thing that comes to mind is listening to Y100. You ever listen to like Y100 in high school at the morning show?
Yeah, you always want to know. You always want to know what the DJs look like.
Right? You hear the voice and you have no clue how. Like you have a picture, kind of like this is what I think, but
it's never the same.
Yeah,
it's never the same if you don't. By the time you actually see someone, usually your projection of what that person looks like is just generally going to be pretty off.
Yeah.
And then when you do Google a person, you're like, oh, I didn't know.
You're like, nah, that's not how you look. Yeah.
Were there people that you, like radio DJs, that you grew up idolizing and admiring?
No.
Because, well, I was in my dad's car, growing up, when he would just drive me around and take me to work with him. We would listen to Joe Rose and all the people on QAM. I grew up listening to sports radio, so when I got to UF and I started to do radio, those were the guys that I really wanted to emulate. And then I realized that there was more to life than just sports, and a lot of these guys take a lot of this stuff too seriously. But when you're first getting your start, it's interesting to kind of see the perspectives and growing to love the personalities that you listen to each and every day.
Yeah, that's why I think it's important, like I said, that we include the YouTube clip so people can see, what we look like, and they can see kind of what our interests are. And as the episodes, kind of move on, we'll have more stuff
and more content.
And more.
You could put in pictures or video
memes,
clips.
Yeah, anything like that. So I think visually it's important for podcasts to have some sort of medium, whether it be YouTube or Twitch or whatever, to have that as well. To answer your question though about kind of what I've learned or what I've seen through the first couple episodes is the importance of social media, whether it be marketing, the release of an episode, or just how important it is to be active on social media to attract an audience.
Yeah.
Because that's going to determine how quickly your channel grows or how quickly your content gets out to more people. And all the behind the scenes that goes into YouTube whether it be the title, the thumbnail, the hashtags, the description. There's a lot of little things that a lot of people don't realize that goes into a YouTube channel that plays a big role in the popularity or the growth of that channel or that person or group or whatever.
We're going to bring you behind the curtain. We're going to tell you what interests us. We're going to show you the inner workings of this podcast. We're also going to tell you what bothers us. We're going to play Get Out of Here coming up. But before that, Sarah Abraham coming up next.
All right, everyone, welcome back to the Business on Top. Today we have a very special guest on the show, and also
First
our
interview.
first guest. The first interview, the first Indian American student body VP at the University of Florida. She was the Indian Student Association president, 2019 UF homecoming queen. She graduated with her bachelor's in information systems, now going back to UF for her master's. She's writing a memoir. She's been on dance teams. She has a TikTok that's going to go viral at some point. So welcome to the show, Miss Sarah Abraham.
Hey, who wrote that for you? That was really good.
It's just right off the top. That's how we do it here.
Yeah, just right off the dome.
That was
Just
awesome.
right
You
off the
know,
dome.
in the spirit of Business on Top, I kind of like rush ordered all your videos today and I went through them really fast. So I did a shirt that I would wear to work, and then I put on my Air Forces because I saw that you guys wear cool shoes.
That's perfect.
Oh,
So
man.
just so I could be on brand with the whole business thing. And these glasses are fake, so I hope this helps the whole ensemble.
It does,
I like it. Big
for
deal.
sure.
No, perfect. So in the sports world, you're basically what we call a utility player because you basically have so many roles, you do so many things, and it's one of the most, you'd say you're a needle in the haystack for sure of people in the world. And to everyone else, she's basically the Swiss Army knife of anything, honestly. So we're glad to have you on. We want to get right into it, but before we do you want to say anything or bring anything up before we start asking you some of these questions?
How can we promote you? This is your time to, if you have a SoundCloud, whatever you got, put it forward.
MySpace.
Yeah, so this isn't the first time I've been called the Swiss Army knife, so I think that's something that's very on brand for me. I don't know if it's like the sharp wit or what it is, just the utility thing, maybe that's it. But no, you know, if you want to follow me on TikTok, Swaggy Sarah 1998. My Instagram's there. Vijay and I are friends on that, so if you want to creep on me that way, it's just Sarah_Abraham. But hopefully down the road I'll be pursuing some politics, so if you see my name somewhere, just send me a vote or support me that way.
There you go. We'll have to put everything in the description, all of your links, so everyone can see your social media pages.
Thanks, Ben.
Yes.
Yep.
Sarah Abraham on with us on the Business on Top podcast. You can check her out on TikTok at Swaggy Sarah. DJ, take it away. You can kick it off with the first question.
All right. We'll keep it easy here. So obviously, the elephant in the room here is you are the first Indian American student body vice president of UF, which is an amazing accomplishment. Congratulations on that. And we wanted to ask, what were some of your main responsibilities as a VP?
Yeah, so it was really, really cool to even get the opportunity to even do this. You know, starting off my freshman year, I thought I kind of wanted to do like the whole dance marathon thing. And if two of you are from UF, and I know you guys know how culty that is, and that just wasn't my vibe. So even at FSU, it's something that's really cool. So I was like, you know what, I want to go that route. But then, you know, our student government at our school is really, really good. And I didn't realize that the amount of impact that they truly have, pun intended, because impact was the name of our political party, but they really do have the chance to not only sway like our administration and the student body, but we also have a pretty big pull in like the Florida legislature, which was really cool. So I feel like I sound kind of nerdy talking about all this, but it was really interesting at the time to learn about all this stuff and realize, hey, as like a ripe 18-year-old, I can get right into this and like really leave my footprint on this campus. So I started off as a senator. Just to give you some backstory, there's like 100 senators. I represented the business school. Then I moved into some programming and did something called a cabinet. So just like the U.S. government, we run the same way, 3 branches. It all works the same. And then I made a run for it. They were like, hey, do you want to be VP on our ticket? And I was like, why not? I feel like this could be really cool. I'm a big fame chaser, anything to get my name out there. Just one step closer to, and I had already started writing my memoir before this. So this was just like a nice like cherry on top that I was like, you know what, I can add to this. It really helps my brand. So yeah, I ran for it, and the responsibilities that go into that, it's mainly for programming. So it's making sure that every type of student on campus feels accounted for in some way. So it's like, yeah, like the University of Florida, everyone's like, okay, undergraduate students are the best. They're the ones that partake in everything, but we forget about the professional schools like law or vet or medicine, or the graduate students, or like the international students. Like they're always in these like distant corners, which nobody's ever thinking about. So that was my job, to make sure that every student on campus felt like they were being cared for and just had something going for them besides their classes. Beside all that, you know, things that I would do, we did like a lot of like promotional things. So like giving away free merchandise. Our student government has like a $22 million budget. And so all that stuff, you know, we went to doing tailgates before like basketball games or gymnastic meets or even baseball games. I'm a huge baseball fan, especially Gator baseball. We did also like really cool awareness things. So like we had a stair climb in memorial of 9/11, and we got the whole community involved, and we used the stadium to go do that. Then we do like really big things like programming weeks, where it's like focusing on mental health, because that's really tolling for the student body. Sexual assault awareness, or like diversity week, because, you know, I really like to harp on diversity week, because me as an Indian American student going to that school, which is 47% white, it's just like, oh, it kind of gets looked over a lot of the time, especially when Greek life runs a lot of things, and
yeah,
which I love that atmosphere, don't get me wrong, but it's good to just educate others about like different nooks on campus.
For sure, Sarah, and that was actually something that I had meant to ask you about, which was when you see Kamala Harris become the first woman of Indian descent be nominated as a vice president. I was wondering how that made you feel as a woman of Indian descent who's breaking barriers in her own respective ways at UF. What kind of impression did that leave on you when you saw her accept the nomination?
Yeah, thanks for asking that. It was really awesome. You know, I always had this thought in the back of my head that I was like, she's going to get it. She was a pretty good front runner for being the Democratic candidate for president anyway. Yeah, she's made, I think, mistakes in the past, but is very woke on it. And like what she's done in her like history in politics, or being general attorney, or all these different types of things, or even like how she's voted in the Senate. But it is really awesome. And I got to talking to my priest actually, and when I went to church like the week after she was nominated, he was like, you know, this is time for you to do this. Like, I'm accepting nothing less than like you being a U.S. senator. And I was like, dang, kind of cool that this like Indian woman, or partially Indian woman, is like opening the minds of so many younger people. And, you know, I'm 22, and I was like, I kind of have the next 15 years of my life planned, but it's cool looking at her doing all these things. It's like, oh, I think I could eventually conquer this stuff too, because like she didn't go to like, and I don't believe she went to like Ivy League schools. She had like a pretty basic beginning.
She went to Howard.
Oh yeah, she did go to Howard. And then she like moved to California, did all that really cool stuff, and just like built her way to the top. Like she is a definition of like starting from the bottom. Like she wasn't born into money or anything like that. And I feel like that circumstance, not that I relate with her fully on that, but it resonates with me in some sense. So I do really look up to her in that way.
That's interesting also, because, you know, there were probably some moments in her life and her career where, you know, she most doubted herself. And I was wondering, when did you most doubt yourself as you made the journey through the University of Florida?
I have to say when I was running for this, because for vice president, because it had been a really long time since there was a woman in office at our school. Ever since I was a freshman, it had always been full male tickets. And so it was like, not only am I representing a big minority culture on our campus, but I'm also representing like all of these girls, and hopefully they feel the same opportunities, or hopefully they feel the same passion that I do to want to give back to the university the same way it gave to me. So I really doubted if I was the right person to do that, because you see so many other people, especially at UF, who are so capable of so many things. And it's like, why was I chosen to do this? Or like, why am I the best person, when you're sitting next to so many people and it's like, they're just as good and they speak way better than I do and they have these awesome ideas. So I continually doubt myself every day if I like was the right person for the job, or if I'm like doing the right thing.
Mm-hmm. And so what do you do
when I'm doubting myself?
Yeah.
You keep trucking. I don't know.
You make a TikTok.
You gotta go clear your mind. I'm a big advocate for talking things out. Like, I don't like to process things on my own, which I think is here or there. Like, it goes both ways, either way for people. But I like to use like a pretty good wise counsel around me and kind of take advice from like mentors. I really harp on the fact that people need mentorship to survive in certain atmospheres. So kind of relying on like the people that came before me, and asking how they were to handle certain situations, because the year that I was VP, it was really rough. Like, our president was in the news everywhere. I don't know if you ever got to keep up with it, but like Donald Trump Jr. came to our campus, and it was like this really big thing where we were like possibly promoting him or not. And our student body president was like in the Hill, in the New York Times, Washington Post, all these crazy news outlets, and like CNN was calling us all the time. It was really, really crazy. And it was wild. And so it's like, oh, like, why is this happening to me? I'm just this weird information systems girl who's just like trying to make her little Indian parents proud, because they didn't move to this country for me to be in CNN or anything. But just like trying to make my way through. And then you just have to, and obviously you can only rely on the people in the past so much, because they don't go exactly what you go through. But I think it's also like a gut thing, like going with your conscience and like you thinking what's right, because at the end of the day you were the person put in that job. So I guess moral of the story is just being confident that like you'll get through this. One of my favorite quotes is, "This too shall pass." So like, if you don't deal with it, it's gonna pass eventually.
It's a great quote.
That's good.
Yeah.
So Sarah, I actually had a question, kind of switching gears. You mentioned earlier you were in the process of writing a memoir, titled "Was That an Appropriate Time to Laugh?" Love the title, and just kind of wanted to hear how you came up with that title, what your memoir is about, and kind of what led you to want to start writing a memoir.
Yeah, so this book is a telltale of my life. I'm only 22, so I don't have much of a life to even write about. But being honest, there's so much I have left to experience. But the reason I started writing it is I'm a big Mindy Kaling fan. I don't know if I'm still an Ellen fan. I don't know how people feel about her. I kind of stopped reading it.
I'm not sure quite how to feel about that one.
I don't know if I like her. I read all these things that it's like she did all these crazy things to me, but then other people are like, she's so awesome. So I don't know how I feel. I have no opinion, I guess.
I think when there's somebody who has like this like pristine public persona, and then you kind of find out things that maybe she doesn't quite live up to that. Sometimes you separate the art from the artist, and then other times you just completely, cut that person loose. It just, I guess, all depends on your perspective.
Exactly. So when she came out with her book, I loved it at the time. So I'm still going to say I liked the book. It's a good book. I don't even remember what it's called, but, Mindy Kaling, Ellen, Michelle Obama, Tina Fey, Amy Poehler, I loved reading their memoirs. And I was like, you know what? I am nothing compared to these women, or as established as they are, because they wrote them in their late 30s. But I kind of want to write something like this. And beyond that, as much as I as much as I say it's not because of her, my sister also said she was writing one. So I was like, you know what? Me trying to always live in her shadow, I was like, I'm going to write one too, you know, and it's going to be a best
Sibling rivalry.
We all know.
Let's get your sister on next time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Good luck.
So we all know that.
Yep. Yeah, her ear is probably like pressed up against the door right now. But you know, I was just like, you know what, I kind of want to do this. So I started writing it in high school, and I'm not saying I'm the worst, but it's kind of like I'm the worst, where it's just like people are so sad and they like want advice from you, but anything like merely sad, unless it's like very, very serious, elicits some sort of like uncomfortable laugh for me. And just because I don't know how to process emotion.
I do that too. I do.
Yeah, I feel like that's very normal for people in our age group. So, so you know, I was just like, when is it appropriate to laugh and when isn't? And I kind of just went with it, and it's a popular title with all the people I tell that I'm writing. It's my fun fact for every class that I'm in that I'm writing one.
Do you have, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but do you have a story of like a really uncomfortable moment that you've had where like you created some awkwardness because you did something like that?
I'm trying to think. So it had to have been in high school. Oh, so I played softball most of high school because I was like, this is gonna get me into college, and I'm gonna say it did get me into college, but
it got me into college.
Yeah, so. Exactly. So I did it for a reason, but I was so terrible at it. In no way was I good. But this girl, one of our games, our senior night, she was our pitcher. Was she our pitcher? I don't know. She was on the team, maybe or a pinch hitter or something. I don't know what she was. Random girl, clearly not important enough. But, and I hope she never watches this, but she got like really sick before the game, and her parents were like the really strict type that were just like, you need to get over it, because they wanted her to get like signed to college somewhere, like at least D3. And it was like our senior year at the beginning of it, where coaches were still coming out to recruit and stuff like that. And so she was really, really sick. I don't know what happened to her. Her parents are reaming her out. Everybody in the dugout was like, it's okay. Like, you're going to be fine. Like, this is okay. Just like take 30 minutes, drink a Gatorade. And I'm like sitting there laughing because I think it's hilarious that this girl supposed to be in the game. Her parents are yelling at her in front of everybody. But it's like, what are you going to do? The kid is sick. So I guess I'm laughing at the parents, and everyone's kind of uncomfortable. But like, I'm being really obnoxious in the dugout, trying to just like get the game going. And yeah, that's like one of the first moments I can recall. Some others.
And so it happened. Did you get yelled at? Like?
Oh, no one will ever mess with me if I'm laughing.
Well, she's actually next. She's our next guest on the podcast. So just be ready.
People have told me that they've like broken up with their significant other, and it's just like, ha ha ha, on to the next one. But it's
savage.
It's not appropriate to laugh, I've learned. So that's the last chapter of my book. It was not appropriate to laugh. But yeah, that's where that came from. But
that's awesome.
Yeah, continue a little bit about that. I don't think my life is interesting, like I was saying before, but I'm hoping that this book motivates me to work hard and be the type of person that people want to read about. It's like, Sarah Abraham, like that's a book I want to get into. So you might not see something until like my mid-30s, early 40s. But if you want to hear some chapter names, I can give you guys that little.
Yeah.
Okay, so a couple of them are, Do I Deserve Love? I don't know if this is a little racy. I don't know what the vibe of this podcast is.
It's whatever it is. Fly. It's a podcast about nothing.
Let it fly.
Okay, so Do I Deserve Love? And if so, is it with a white man? Personality is my currency. When did I become the girl with only brown friends? A series of horrible decisions. And the last one I wrote for my notes on this is Cue the Beat Drop. So
nice.
Oh man.
Yeah, that's what I've got going so far.
Great. I can't wait to read it. It's gonna be a great
I hope we get the first 3 copies. Maybe after your family, you'll have to send.
Probably before that. Probably before that. I can send that to you.
She's
Good,
at,
good. I'd
at
like to
Swaggy
proofread.
Sarah Abraham on with us here on the Business on Top podcast. In 10 years, you'll be able to get her memoir, When Is It Appropriate to Laugh, available at newsstands in 10 years or wherever you will get things in 10 years. But to wrap things up, I wanted to do a little bit of a lightning round. And I want to ask you, it's pretty much fill in the blank with a little bit of context. We'll keep things short, 15 to 30 seconds at the most. Sarah Abraham's Taco Bell order is blank.
Oh, Crunchwrap Supreme sub beef.
Yes.
Again.
Wait, what?
Ooh.
Sub beef for chicken?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
and
right up
potatoes.
Shane's alley.
It's a good idea. Keep things lean.
Wait,
That's my move.
what'd you say? Add potatoes?
And on the side, add Fiesta potatoes on the side.
Oh, didn't they get rid of that now?
Yeah, it was a bad
haven't
move. Yeah.
Taco Bell in 6 months, so I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know how you can do that. We have
I
Taco
live
Bell after every podcast.
I live at home now, so it's
No
like
shame.
I don't have that. And if any of you know my sister, I don't think she would eat Taco Bell. So, yeah, I don't even know what they look like anymore at Taco Bell, the building.
Sarah Abraham's most cherished college memory is blank.
I think
There's an easy answer, and then there's a...
Yeah, the easy answer is obviously saying the night I won my election, but I think a more cherished memory is the day of the homecoming game when I got to stand on the field with like the band and the cheerleaders and the dancers and stuff like that. That was really awesome.
That's amazing.
The celebrity or person that you most want to spend an hour with and have a drink with is blank.
Mindy Kaling.
Oh, yeah.
Sarah Abraham's favorite bar at Midtown in Gainesville is blank.
Salty Dog Saloon.
The movie that you will always stop on if it's on television is...
Any of the Harry Potters.
Yeah. That was my answer.
Yeah, well, you and Ben should set up a Zoom and you guys can go through a marathon sometime.
It was on last night.
Oh, really?
Shame. Yep.
Do you have a favorite?
Chamber of Secrets is pretty up there. And Deathly Hallows Part 2 is really good.
Yep.
Ben took off work to watch the whole marathon, so...
Yeah.
I would do the same thing.
I did.
Don't feel any shame about that.
No, I don't.
What Sarah Abraham wants to do to change the world is blank.
I do want to run for office eventually. What I want to do with that, I'm not really sure what kind of route I want to take, but eventually, I'm thinking about maybe joining the foreign service, going to the Middle East, and changing policy for women and education for children. So I don't know what you want to take with that, but take that as it is.
Yes or no, is a hot dog a sandwich?
Yes.
All right, Abraham. With that, get out of here. Sarah Abraham on Business on Top. We appreciate her. She's our first guest we've ever had. Thank you so much for tolerating our nonsense around here.
Thanks, Sarah.
Thanks for having me. It was awesome to be here.
See you later.
We'll have you back soon.
Yay. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye. And welcome back to the Business on Top podcast. And I'm Shane Chernoff, and I wanted to remind you that this and every episode of the Business on Top podcast is brought to you by Mima's Chimi. Mima's Chimi is an all-natural, authentic, all-purpose chimichurri sauce, locally made right here in Boca Raton. Mima's Chimi can be used on almost anything. Steak, chicken, fish. I use it on my tofu. Impossible meat, salads. The possibilities are really endless, guys. Vegan, keto, and vegetarian friendly. It works for any diet. The chimi comes in an 8-ounce jar and can be ordered at mimaschimi.com. And if you're in the Boca Raton area, you can find it at the Boca Dorces Italian Market. Remember, if I get tripped up on the last line every time. It's not chimi if it's not Mima's, boys.
Hey,
it's not chimi if it's not Mima's. Got it that time.
Nice.
So, I sent a text to you guys because in addition to being podcast co-stars, I am also your fantasy football commissioner, and I have been
for the past several
7.
years or so.
Right? I think it's the League 7.
I think it is. I think it is season 7. It might be season 8.
It could be 8. Yeah.
And I want to ask you guys, because I never have had the chance to do this, on a scale of Manfred to Silver, am I a decent commissioner?
Silver.
Wow, that's high praise. I thought maybe I might get in the Bettman territory.
Silver.
You were the only league that you were the first league that I'm in. I'm in 3 leagues right now that had a trophy. Every year had the team name and the owner put on the trophy and given to the winner to hold for the year for keepsake. You were the first league. and Vijay and I were actually ones that commissioned that. You remember when we had that conversation that one day?
Run very well. Let's say MVP of our league for sure.
So, and fantasy football, everybody probably has, at least most guys do, are playing in multiple leagues at the same time.
Yep.
So you all have your frustrations, and my frustration is when you're trying to schedule something and it's a 10-team league and 9 people say that they can be around for Tuesday 8 at the draft, and then you get that one guy who's like, why can't we do it on a weekend? Because, Tim, we all want to do it on a Tuesday because it's after work and we don't have anywhere to be. Although last year, although I realized that last year we did it on a Saturday, so I feel a little bit bad about it.
It was on a Saturday.
It was on a Saturday, yeah. It just so happened.
Was it your place, right?
Yeah, but mostly, you realize almost like in all the past years we'll do it on a Tuesday, just right before the season kicks off, because it's just the easiest to do.
Well, it's actually a little different this year because obviously you wait until the last possible day because you want to wait for the last preseason game to end just in case there's any injuries. But now that there's no games this year,
that's a good point.
Players could get hurt in practice, obviously, but more than likely it's the preseason games that they get hurt or
first
whatever.
Pick. What's your first pick?
I can't right now. That. I'm in the league with you.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's a trade secret.
I can't do that.
Well, first pick's gonna be the easiest pick.
You can't be talking to me about his work process.
If I'm pick 2 and you're pick 1, and I tell you who I want.
Well, I'm usually pick 1, so I don't know how it happens, but I really
can't be giving away the mental impressions of counsel.
All right. Well,
yeah.
I'll tell you mine, just because.
I mean, it's got to be McCaffrey, though, right?
Yeah. No. Alvin Kamara.
He was my sleeper.
Yeah. I thought I was going to drop to 7.
My 11th round pick.
Yeah. I mean, is there anything that guy can't do? Catching passes out of the backfield, running the ball.
He's got no Cam this year, though.
But did it hurt? Did it hurt him? Because Cam only played 2 games last year, and he was still the best fantasy player in the whole league.
Is it Greer? Who's starting for him?
It would be Bridgewater, you'd think.
Oh, Bridgewater, yeah.
That's going to be an interesting division. Remember, all the quarterbacks went all over the place.
Who was there?
David, what's his name?
Al?
Is it David Moore?
No, I think he's right. Kyle Allen.
Kyle Allen, that's who it was.
Yeah. He was okay.
Honestly,
right?
once I haven't really been paying attention. I'm still pessimistic about football.
Yeah.
I think it'll happen, but I've tried to dampen my hopes just in case it gets canceled, or I'm trying not to get my hopes up yet. But the fact that it's right around the corner, I'm starting to get.
What about? But there's been a bunch of false positives. Weirdly.
They're testing. I think their testing protocol needs to get a lot better if they're going to survive over the long term.
Yeah.
And when I say survive, it's not financially, just if they're going to be able to get through the season. But you've seen what baseball has been able to do. There have been at least 3 teams with some positive cases now, and they have it down to the point where it doesn't look like the season's going to get canceled. They're just going to continue to put warm bodies in the lineup if that's what they have to do. And honestly, I think football, as brutal as sport it is, they're just going to be next man up for them. It's not going to make a difference, and I think we'll probably have a full season.
Yeah, drafting your team this year is going to be completely different. At least I know for me, my usual strategies going into the year is going to be different this year because you don't know who's going to test positive and how that will affect free agency in your leagues or whatever. So the draft is going to be a little bit different.
What do you think? I mean, you've worked in the NFL, so
yeah.
What's your? thoughts as far as?
I don't think it'll be too different. I think, from my understanding, especially once the season starts, they're going to be tested probably once in the beginning of the week after game day, and then once probably that Friday or Saturday before the game. So I think you'll have enough time to change your lineup. I don't think it'll be like a game time thing, but what does worry me is the fact that there's no preseason games. You kind of see it in baseball. A lot of these pitchers are getting hurt because they didn't get the spring training or the reps in. I am worried that without preseason games, that injuries will be more this year. Not only positive COVID tests, but injuries themselves.
Or less. You never know, because preseason also causes injuries from time to time as well. So
that's true.
Yeah. I don't know. It's either way. Honestly.
Yeah. It's been interesting to see how the injuries and really everything that's been handled in the NBA right now between the boycotts and getting players in game shape, because you've eliminated the one theory that I've heard is because you eliminated the sight lines, the fans change your sight lines, which is why the shooting has been a lot better, and you're seeing like really, really good offensive basketball right now. And one of the guys on one of the playoff teams is Taurean Prince, and Taurean Prince plays for the Brooklyn Nets, and he is apparently a fan of our show to the extent that he was the only vote on the poll that I put up the other day, which was, where the hell did Stormy Daniels go?
Yes or no?
He voted
yes or no.
I have to go back. I'm pretty sure he
voted
said
yes.
I'm pretty sure he voted yes.
100% he voted yes. The only person to vote, he voted yes. And it's his official account. We checked. He's got...
This was vetted, guys.
Yeah.
It was something that we actually did during the break of our last show.
We posted on screen of his... of like the poll, him answering.
He is the sole vote on that poll. He is very bored in the bubble.
Yeah.
He has followed business on top, and he has voted on our really weird Stormy Daniels poll that I thought of when I was at a stoplight.
Wait, are they in the bubble?
No.
I think they got eliminated, right?
Oh, they got...
They were... Yeah, they didn't make it into like the playing game.
Oh,
I think they started, but they didn't win like enough games.
Oh, I stand corrected. So they weren't a playoff team. I thought they were like the 8th seed or something like that.
Yeah.
No,
really shows how much
how
much I'm paying attention. Good job, journalists. Way to have your facts straight, bud. But Taurean, if you have some time now, to the extent that you are not playing, we would like to have you on, because I have a bunch of questions to ask you about basketball, but also about how the hell did you find this poll?
Every poll question, we should just add him. Just add.
I would love to. Yeah.
We need him on, or we need him to respond to see how
it starts.
So if anyone's either in Brooklyn or is familiar with Taurean Prince or has like a connection to Taurean Prince, I went into his DMs. I asked him to come on the show. I have not received a response yet, but we're hoping we can get him for you guys in the off season. I'll reach out to the what do they call it? They don't call him the SID and
like PR guy.
Yeah, the Nets PR. But you know what I'm talking about when I say SID. That's just
or media relations.
That's just a college thing, right? The SID.
SID.
Yeah. Good times.
Yeah.
But Taurean, if you're on, we'll talk to you about Stormy. We'll talk to you about whatever the hell you want to talk about.
Yeah.
I think that would be a fun.
You lead that episode.
Yeah, that'd be a fun conversation. Yeah, you could be our co-host. You can hang out with us every episode if you want until the season comes back.
Yeah,
exactly.
Hey, we're from New York.
Yeah,
New York,
we'll
New
meet you
Jersey,
there. We'll take the train.
We're from Florida.
Exactly. Yeah. But we're gonna play. Get out of here. Sorry.
Hold on.
Your mind's like,
yeah.
You're. I think you're gearing up questions to ask Taurean.
I got really excited about the prospect of seeing
Ventura rewind scene right now.
Yeah, I was gonna yeah, we're just gonna pretend that didn't happen.
Okay, now go.
Yeah, we're gonna play "Get Out of Here" is what I meant to say in English before my brain just completely shut down in front of me. But I know you had an interesting one, and it was one that I kind of shared when you and I workshopped this one a little bit.
As far as Get Out Here, man, have you guys ever held a door open for somebody and they don't thank you for it?
Yes. Oh, it's
that
terrible.
That was the
Raised without manners.
It boils my blood every single time. It's just people think that it's it's supposed to happen for them every time.
You want to just slam the door like on their back.
Look, I'm all about giving people the benefit of the doubt on that one. If they're on a cell phone, if they're not looking up or
no excuse.
You can wave, right?
Yeah, or a head nod.
The wave will suffice. Like you can do like a non-verbal communication.
There's no excuse.
But to walk by like no one's there and the door open for you, it makes me angry. And I'll tell you what, I remember because I'm like an elephant. I never forget. FSU Law School. I think it was my 2L year. I know the exact door where it happened because there's a little staircase that leads up. And if you turn left, you go to the law library, and if you turn right, you go to the classrooms. And there was someone who was walking through and held the door, and thought that person might be very appreciative of it. And that person looked down, looked right at me, and then looked down and just went straight through. And from that point forward, I didn't like that person as much anymore. And
did you sue them?
I didn't.
Not yet.
So
I would say that I was emotionally distressed, but I was just mildly annoyed. And I do wonder how that person is doing in practice right now. And I hope they're doing well, but I hope no one holds doors open for you anymore.
So my quick story was I was at the gym. I just got done with a workout, and I was about to leave for home, and I opened the door, and there was this girl coming through. She had some shades on, and she was on the phone. I open it. She runs through, didn't even look at me, and was going towards her car. So I don't know what happened. You guys know me. I'm I keep everything to myself, and I'm usually pretty conservative.
I don't think I've seen you angry a few times, and we'll have to get to that in another episode. But that I could probably carry about an hour about the night that I actually saw you.
Maybe it was a pre-workout in me or what, but I turned around and I literally said, "You're welcome," like really loud, and she turned around, took her glasses off, was off the phone. She's like, "Oh, thank you," but
it shouldn't take that. It shouldn't require that. It should just be decency. I know you have to get out of here too, but if you're gonna walk through a door and someone else is holding it for you and you don't say thank you or at least acknowledge the fact that somebody's doing a nice thing that they don't have to do, get the hell out of here.
Get out of here.
Get out of here.
I think mine is if the donut talk didn't already show the fat kid in me, this maybe will. You guys ever go to a restaurant, right, and order an entree, whatever it may be, and it's, we'll say $16 to $20 range, right? And you get it, and it's like the size of this box.
It's ridiculous.
Enough
Yeah.
food, and you're like,
well, that's why I love bar food and
Taco Bell. You get your money's worth. Taco Bell.
It's the ultimate value.
That's why
And I won't lie to you, we're going there after the show.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
T-Bell.
I can't wait.
I mean, we got about 5 minutes left in this thing, and I can tell you, as soon as we put the headphones down, I'm grabbing my keys, and we are going to go hammer down some grilled cheese burritos.
I can't stand when, especially when you're paying that kind of money and you're not even satisfied leaving the restaurant. You're getting pretty much an appetizer, barely any food. Especially now, I don't know if you guys have noticed a lot of give me food, make me fat. Especially now with places doing takeout, they're giving less food in their boxes as opposed to if you dine in. At least a couple of restaurants I've gotten.
They've always done that though.
That's interesting.
Normally,
I've never.
Yeah, but I feel like now I'm noticing, and now I'm all right. I'm crossing them off the list. I'm not coming back here.
I know it's a pandemic, but if you're skimping on your food to people that are really, really looking forward to patronizing your restaurant, get the hell out of here. I'll make up the
difference. If you give me more food, I'll tip you more.
There you go.
Now, granted, that's a whole different segment. Tip your waiters and waitresses.
20% if you're dining in.
Yeah.
10% if you're calling something in and picking it up.
That should be a different potential poll question maybe in the future.
That is the business on top rule of the day.
Yeah.
20% in, 20% dining in, 10% if you're calling it in.
Yeah.
Right.
So, more food.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah. If you're not giving Ben enough food, get the hell out of here.
You'll hear about it on Yelp. I'll be there.
And
I'll write a nasty Yelp review. Write a nasty Yelp review.
He's gonna find a way to give you negative stars. My get the hell out of here is really reserved for myself. I have been in a lousy mood right up until we started the show, but I'm happy hanging out with you guys, so thank you for making me feel a little better.
Of course.
But I've been in a lousy mood because I am finally off painkillers and ready to
go.
healthy enough to go on a run. I wasn't able to do it last Saturday. I'm ready to go. I was excited because I am going to finally get to run on A1A because I'm now close enough that I can do it. And I'm looking for my really, really nice Brooks running shoes. This is not an ad, but I really do love my Brooks shoes. And I can't find them. And I think they got lost during the move when I came to my new place. And it is just disappointing. I'm sure you've all had this experience where it's something that you, whether it's something big or something small, stuff gets lost during a move, and it's just frustrating.
It'll turn up.
I hope so, because I mean, I'm after we get the Taco Bell, I'm gonna go like diving around in my closet to try to find it. I gotta call my old apartment and see maybe if they have it, but unfortunately, leaving stuff during a move, get the hell out of here. And what we're gonna do right now is we're gonna get the hell out of here and go to Taco Bell. Unless you guys have anything else you guys want to add?
Thank you, Sarah, for the allowing us to interview you and answering our questions.
Sarah Abraham, friend of the show.
Friend of the show and
first
great family, by the way. I wish we'll probably meet them once, but very smart, very great family, and yeah, definitely glad she was on the podcast.
We'll check back in with you soon. Stay safe, stay healthy. Take care.